So hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to our participants, wherever you are joining us from. We want to say welcome and really thank you for being part of today's release webinar. We are really pleased to introduce the latest updates of the DHIS2, which include version 42 for web platform and the version 3.2 of the DHIS2 Android mobile application. So this release brings many important enhancements, but some highlights include a redesigned DHIS2 menu with shortcuts and keyboards, support for configuring keyboard navigation, support for configuring data entry forms, both in web and in Android, also improvements for aggregating individual data into aggregated data elements. And in analytics, you will see that you can now display plugins within dashboards or even embed a whole external dashboard into the DHIS2 dashboard tab. Another major improvements are the unification of the rule engine and the new global shared app container for all DHIS2 web apps. There are many more details to share about this, and these are only 6 highlights. So there is much more to explore in the release, and I'm not going to do that all by myself. So together with me, as you can see on the screen, I am Marta Vila. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. So I'm Marta Vila. I'm the product lead of the DHIS2. And together with me, we will have Marcus, engineering lead of the DHIS2, presenting as well. We will have Austin. Austin is the only one that you are not seeing on the screen. He's traveling, is currently in Tanzania, and will join as soon as possible. Austin is the engineering manager for the Extensibility team. And then we have Caroline Tufteli and Nancy Espinosa and David Kennedy, which are the 3 product managers of the DHIS2. So we are all here, and soon I will pass it over to them. So together we will guide you through all the new functionalities, following the structure that you can see now on the slide. We will begin with Marcus. Marcus will present the core platform improvements that underpin the entire DHIS2 platform. And next we will move to Configure. In Configure, David will walk you through the latest features related to configuring and maintaining your DHIS2 instance. After that, we will move to Collect. And Collect includes all updates related to data entry and data collection. We will start with the aggregate data models and then shift to individual level data. And in both parts, Nancy and Carolina will introduce the new features available for both the web and Android capture apps. We will then take a 10 minutes pause or break, and we expect that it will be around 3 p.m., depending on how good we are with our timings. After the break, we will continue with the analytics apps, and that part will be presented by Carolina, and it will be followed by Austin, who will focus on the improvements around extensibility. So at the end of the webinar, we will have some time for questions. We will try to address as much as possible here in the live session, but if not, we will continue on the COP. It really depends on the volume. However, before leaving and before we wrap up, we want to ask you for your help for planning the future webinars. So what do I mean with that? As many of you know, we do have spotlight feature webinars every other week. In those webinars, what we do is it's like a deep dive in a particular functionality where we cover from configuration to end use, going in big detail on each one of the steps and being very specific. So at the end, we will share a Mentimeter poll so that you can rank or select what are the features that you would have seen today. So which ones are those that are of most interest to you? And depending on that ranking, we will plan the calendar for the upcoming webinars for the rest of the year. So please stay with us till the end. That's a very important part. But this is all from me for now. So I will hand it over to Marcus, and Marcus will talk about the platform improvements. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Marta. I have the honor of presenting some of the enhancements that you might not otherwise have noticed right away. In fact, you might not ever have noticed them. unless you had the luxury of working with v42 for a while and then later went back to a 41 or an older version. Anyone following Mac OS X upgrades will know the feeling. When you pick up and use an old version, you always find it a bit surprising. We're proud to present these enhancements to our platform, and in fact, as our world has been shaken in ways this year that we wouldn't have been able to comprehend when we released 41. We are extra proud to present these improvements to our very foundation, and we are going to be the bedrock in the years to come, as we have been before. In version 42, we have closed the loop. The same rule engine is now run on Android, DHIS2 backend, and on the Capture web app. This is really valuable for our ability to maintain and develop the tools you need in the rule engine. The days of building a program rule that is just supported on web or just supported on Android are over, and we have done this as a response to feedback from the community. The differing functionality and behavior in web and Android from rules have been a source of frustration. We have been working towards this goal of a one rule engine running across all parts of the solution for many cycles now. It's finally here thanks to code written in Kotlin multi-platform, which essentially means that we share the same code for the different environments. And this is a big step for us. It also opens possibilities for sharing other logic across web, Android, and the backend in the future. We do encourage you to read the upgrade notes, as there are some, and we also made a COP post about the new rule engine. There might be some latent problems that will now surface when you upgrade to 42 and try in the new Capture app. This should be easy to detect and fix, however, and we do think that the trade-off is really good. We are removing a source of bugs and inconsistencies and any unplanned and user frustration by consolidating the rule engine. So this is the first item I'm going to highlight. The next big improvement to our platform, Marta already mentioned as well. We have now what we call the global app shell, which serves as a container for any of the apps that are loaded. It makes sure that we have a consistent header bar and navigation interface across all apps, and it makes it possible to consolidate functionality that is required by all apps. We're now serving the header bar to all apps using the global shell. We took the opportunity to make some design upgrades. You will see a more compact header bar with a bit adjusted modern design for the user profile menu. What is exciting is also that it can be used to roll out new features to all apps at once. And in version 42, we are taking advantage of this to bring you a brand new app menu that you can see a screenshot of here. This is a feature that we will get more into and get a demo of in the extend section a bit later. Austin will also get back to what the global shell will mean for app developers and the audience that extends DHIS2 for their own use cases. What I will mention right now, though, is that we are excited with the possibilities this gives us. We can now further enhance our whole platform in one place. And among the enhancements planned, we have, for example, have the better user flow for session expiration. We can now make a better functionality and a better experience when sessions expire, and this will help all apps at once, even custom apps built by third-party developers. Some other core enhancements that's worth mentioning is the two I'm gonna bring up here. We know that we nag to upgrade your instances, and we know that sometimes when you take a new main version, there is some adaptation or some development you have to do, especially if you build apps on top of it or have scripts, advanced use cases. And we just wanted to mention that, like you, we have to do some upgrades to keep up with our underlying foundations from time to time. In this release, we have upgraded the Spring framework and Spring security main versions, and this was getting necessary to stay on supported versions. But it also makes the application more secure by default. It makes it faster. It enables changes that might be needed to keep up with security requirements. It also opens up exciting new possibilities to build new security features, like modern token-based authentication. We have also expanded the support for different ID schemes this time around. We have now covered all major workflows as far as we know, and added ID scheme support to the main tracker endpoints now. You should now be able to use and export. You should now be able to export and import data using your preferred IDs, and we think this will be helpful when you integrate DHIS2 with external systems, simplify your data migration, and this will improve your overall data management workflows. Then for the most important slide today, I think, when we talk to any stakeholders about what is the most important to them about DHIS2, I would estimate a 8 in 10 chance that their answer would be nicely encapsulated with the heading of this slide. We want to mention that we are keeping our focus on reducing the backlog of bugs. We are enhancing our routines for making sure we fix the highest impact problems in the world. And we are taking the information for action into our own living room. And you can see the slide here showing that we are reducing our bug backlog and improving the cycle for bugs reported. We're also investing in our foundations to improve stability and reduce the chance of future problems. We keep paying technical debt, reducing our code entropy, and you will experience this as the lack of unforeseen problems down the road. It sometimes means that you have to pay now with some upgrade steps when you take the new main version, and I want to take this opportunity to remind you to read the upgrade notes every time you upgrade the main version of DHIS2. There you will see if there is anything that is relevant for you or your instance, and with an explanation of the manual steps, if any. We do hope you appreciate this trade-off, however, and we promise to pay you back with a stable, performant, and predictable DHIS platform. With that, I hand over to David Kennedy, who will present the next functional topic of configuring DHIS2.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Marcus. Let me just share. Okay. Is the screen coming through now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, excellent. All right, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about some of the new configuration options that we have in this new release of DHIS2. First of all, I'm going to talk to you about email two-factor authentication. So this is a bit of a security capacity. We've had two-factor authentication available for a while through the Authenticator app, but some instances we're having had issues with people that maybe didn't have access to a smartphone with the Authenticator app. So to improve the reach of being able to use two-factor authentication, we've added the ability to receive one-time passwords via email. So now that you've got multiple options for how you want to use the two-factor authentication. This is a big system setting. I'm not going to demo it. It takes a little bit of setting up. So you do need the admin to edit the configuration file to enable this at a system level. And then once it's enabled, you then give the users the opportunity to choose whether they want to use an Authenticator app or email to receive those one-time passwords. And then it's a similar flow that you're used to in terms of when you're logging into the system, you'll enter your username and password, and then get the opportunity you see here to enter the authentication code via email. One of the byproducts of implementing this is that we also implemented a verified email setting, so that a system administrator can choose to enforce unique emails, so that every single user has to have a unique email address, and that they have to verify that email address by, once they're entering it, receiving a code, a link to their email address, clicking it, going through, making sure that's verified. So you can use that email verification, whether you want to use the email two-factor authentication in the long run. So it's kind of a bonus feature. Okay, moving on. We're looking at the new maintenance app. So this has been released. This was introduced in the last version, in 41, and we're continuing to release and add new features to it. And as you are well aware, the maintenance app is a big application for metadata management and maintenance. And we're gradually transitioning section by section. So we're excited to announce now that we've got all of the categories, most of the data elements available in 42. Just going to pop over and have a look. So as you can see, this is the new maintenance app. And you can go through the sections and see that there's a new list view. So it looks very different. It's all updated with much better user interface. And we also have a few important new features for managing your metadata. One of the most ones I want to highlight right now is the merging. So for example, in category options, if you have two category options that are semantically the same, but maybe named a little bit different, and you want to merge them into one, you can select both of the category options. Select to merge, delete the sources. And since this is a very effectual change, we want to make sure that you know you're not doing anything by accident. So we've actually added a type in field. And once you complete this operation, all of the references to that category option will be changed. So it's not just deleting one, creating another one, you're actually merging all of the references so that within the system, you've just got the one option now. And it'll help to neaten up and deduplicate category options. We're introducing merging through the UI for a lot of other elements in the items of metadata in the maintenance app. It's available already for indicator types, and will be coming soon for other items of metadata. The maintenance app is on continuous release, as I said. So even if you're on, once you're upgraded, or even if you're on version 41, you can update the maintenance app and see some of these features come available. And as we continue to make improvements to the app, you can continue to update the app throughout version 40, this version, and so that you get access to new features. The next one we're working on is data sets. So we should have data sets available shortly, and then after that, we'll be moving on to the program setup. Talking about programs, I've got a new big feature to talk about now, which is program indicator disaggregations. So it's a bit of a mouthful for people that might not be familiar with what this is, but this is a big step towards integrating the data from individual tracker programs into the aggregate data model. So previously, what you would need to do to transfer data from the tracker model into the aggregate model is create a program indicator uniquely for each disaggregation category option. So then if you had a lot of categories with a lot of options, you would end up with a lot of program indicators that you would need to manage. combination to a program indicator, create the mapping for each of the options in the category, in categories in the category combination, and you do the mapping once, and then you get the same effect, but you've only got one program indicator managing them. So let's have a quick look at that. At the moment, we've got that in the new maintenance app. Let's scroll down. You can see with the new program indicator, program disaggregation setting. Within the program, you can choose the disaggregation category combination and then add a mapping for each of the categories in that. I won't go through exactly how to map it, but you can just see here that for each of these categories, we've added an expression that defines the program data in the context of that category option. The syntax is the same as the filter in a program indicator. So you can actually use the program indicator filter expression builder to build up these expressions and then add them in. But the main part is what this allows you to do. So where previously you would have to have an individual program indicator for each of these disaggregations, now you can just add the program indicator directly as data, and you get the option to add the categories directly to the columns and have it update directly in the data visualizer. So you get the disaggregated data without having to have multiple program indicators. The other part that you can do with this, once you've actually set up the mappings and set up the relationship between the program indicator and the aggregate categories, is you can use the aggregate data exchange app to then transfer the program data into aggregate data elements. So again, you used to be able to do this. You could do this already by mapping each individual program indicator to where it fits with the data element disaggregated. Now you can just do one program indicator and add the category combination, transfer it to a data element using that same category combination, and it will transfer to the aggregate model automatically. So that's a very exciting new feature. Last feature I want to talk to you about today is the new Android sync troubleshooting application. So this lets admin users see more detail about what's going on if there's sync issues, so that you can load up a big list and see whether there are event or tracker errors. See a whole bunch of information here, including the user group and role and the error origin. You can search through by the latest. So if there's an error that's happening, you can have a look at it, or you can filter by code to help narrow it down. So this really helps admins to track and resolve synchronization problems a lot more quickly, see whether it's an Android user or a web user, and really find those problems and help fix them a lot more quickly than was previously available. So, yeah, filter. So this app is, again, available to add at the moment to your instance. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Nancy.
Thank you, David. I will share my screen. Okay, so as Marta explained at the beginning, I will walk you through the collect side, which means the data entry for both web and Android, and we will divide this phase into aggregated data and individual data. For the individual data, I will start with the Android new functionalities and improvements, and then I will hand it over to Carolina so she can explain the website. So for the aggregated data, we have the first new feature, which is the accepting or supporting numeric value types as days after submission, which means that you can add decimals. So it can be very helpful for any use case where deadlines are not a fully day after the period ends. The next one is the configurable forms, which this compiles a lot of different elements that intends to lead to a more flexible and user-friendly data entry experience. This is not new for web. I will show you then a table with the different releases and the elements. But for Android, everything that I'm going to explain right now is new in 3.2. So this is a summary. We have some titles and subtitles. We have instructions, which is our contents before and after any table, and you can use some HTML tags to make links, for example. Then we have the pivoting. The pivoting, you can have a fully transposed table, which means moving all categories or all the columns to the rows and all the rows to the columns, or you can have a partial one, which means selecting just one category and move it to the row. We have some sections, tabs as tabs, and you can use them vertical, but also horizontal. I will explain a bit more how they work in web and Android. And then finally, we have some disable grouping, which turn off the grouping based on category combination, which means even though you have more than 2 data elements with the same category combination, you don't necessarily need to put them one next to the other. You can have a different order. So this is the table of reference for the different versions. As you can see, as I was mentioning, for the Android app, we have everything in 3.2 is new, except for the horizontal tabs. The horizontal tabs is a default behavior, and it has been the default behavior for the sections data set. So what's new in here is that if you are working in landscape mode with a tablet, for example, then you could have the vertical tabs. For the web data entry, we have the disable grouping in 39, transpose rows and columns and content before and after in 41, and then custom titles and subtitles and the rendering of the sections in 42. So I have here some screenshots, so we will share the presentations later, but I want to show you this particular example, which is the child health data set. And in here, as you can see, now in the Android app, we have removed the detail screen, which contain the period and the org unit and some other information, and we have moved it to have it in the same screen, in the same data entry screen. So as you can see, we are trying to mimic the behavior so the tables are aligned and the user have the same experience using web or Android. So we have the title and subtitle here. Then we have the content before and after. In this case, is before the table. And as you can see, we have different types of links and bolsterings that you can add to highlight if you need some part of the text. And then in this example in particular, we have one of the categories that have been moved to the rows, and then the other stayed at the columns. And this is what I was explaining before, which you can move. If you are working with a tablet and you are in landscape, you can move the tabs to a left panel in the Android app. This is the vertical tabs, and you will have the same view as you have it in web. I will not go to the in detail of how to configure, but this is some of the major improvements and new functionalities for the aggregated information. Then for individual data, I will start with the major improvements in 3.2, and then I will try to summarize some of the 3.1 in Android, which are the November release in past year. So for the 3.2, we have the quick actions. The quick actions bar is these chips that you can see here, that it aims to reduce the number of taps the user does to create a different task. For example, you can have mark for follow-up, transfer, complete enrollment, cancel enrollment, and more enrollments. These are the predefined actions that you can move to the bar. And you can also find them in all other different places. But for example, if marking for follow-up is something that you need to have it in the dashboard and it's some activity that you do a lot, then you can have it here and it will be easier for the user to find. So I'm going to show you this in the Android settings. You need to enable it in the Android settings web app. To do that, you need to go to the appearance menu and then the programs. And if you select any specific setting, I have two examples here. You go to the program, to the specific program, and at the bottom, you will find the quick actions. And it tells you it will work only for 3.2 or plus versions. And the order of the chips will present as the order as it is here. So the first one will be marked for follow-up, and the last one will be more enrollments. And you can select as many as you need. And if you don't select any of them, and this is the default behavior, then you won't be able to see any of the chips in there. So if I go, well, this is a TV program. As you can see, we have 3 of them selected. And for the MNCH, we have all of them selected. So if I go to the mobile, let me just go back. I want to show you, I have 2 programs. This is the first time that I'm logging in. And when I go to the home page, it shows me a more dynamic homepage. As you can see, I only have 2 programs, and instead of having 2 lines, then I have more space cards that shows me the icons and more information about the program. So if I go to the TV program and I go to any of the track entity instance, then you'll see that I have here, and I can scroll and I can see all the different actions. In this case, I only have 3, but I could have more or less depending on my needs. If I tap, for example, in the mark for follow-up, the chip disappear here is hidden, but then the info bar is here and I can remove it. And if I remove it, then the chip goes back. Same goes for complete enrollment. The chip won't be hidden, but it will be changed to a reopen. So if I go back to the MNCH, I choose any of them. You see now that I have, this was a cancel enrollment. So I have the reopen enrollment if I need to. I have the more enrollments and I have the transfer. For the transfer action, in this particular case, it will only appear if you have different capture and search our units. If you have the same, even though you select the transfer, the chip won't appear and also won't appear in the 3-dot menu. So following with the 3.1 improvements, as you can see, we have some new navigation bars and also some menus. They have different icons and a bigger font size. The idea is to provide a more modern and cleaner look that can improve the readability and the usability of the app. We also have the responsive screen, the home screen. As I was mentioning, if you have less than 4 programs, then it will try to display among the whole screen the different programs or data sets that you have. And then if you have 5 or more, then it will display as a cards, as it used to, like a smaller card. In the relationship sections, there has been a revamping, and now instead of having just one plus icon to add different relationship types, we have the relationship type as a section, and you can go directly to the relationship type and select the specific relationship. Once it is created and you have searched for the other track entity instance and it's already linked, then you will see this type of card that contains the track entity attributes that are marked as display list in the relationship type. And if you tap on it, you will go to the other track entity instance. For the scheduling events, we also have these new dialogues, not only for scheduling a new event, but also when you have already a scheduled event, you could either change or reschedule the date. You can enter the event, which means starting the event, or you can cancel it, which means you can skip it as well. And finally, we have improvements in maps for both location and search. I will show you the next slide. In this one, we have at the bottom of the map, while you are capturing a coordinate, you have the accuracy range with a label that can be good, low, medium, or very good. And the ranges go low is above 100 meters, and medium between 125. Good is between 25 and 6, and then very good is less than 6 meters. And we also have, this is also for capturing coordinates, we have the new search in maps, which users can search for specific locations by the name or the address, or they can do a partial search, which means once you have done the search by typing here, you can move in the map to a different area and then search for the same name in a different area. So the pins will appear whenever you move if you look for it. So for the next part, which is the web improvements and new functionalities, I will hand it over to Caroline.
Thank you, Nancy. I will share my screen. All right, thank you. Hopefully you see the screen now. So I will go through a few of the functionalities that we've added to the Capture web app for the 42 release. So just to quickly introduce some of them, and then I'll go into a demo after. So we'll look a bit on how to do bulk operations for enrollments and events. We will also look a bit at some user experience improvements, especially within the event workspace. We'll look at the breadcrumb bar. We'll also look at how we've implemented organization unit context in all forms and views. We'll look at the org unit selector in event forms. We'll also take a quick look at the new calendar component, and we'll look at some enhancement in changelog. So, and then one more. Also the launch page. So now I'll move over to the Capture app to demo these enhancements. So as I come into the Capture app, you'll see the launch page as the first thing. It's just kind of to have a framing for the user to see some of the opportunities and some of the functionalities that the Capture app does, including a link to the documentation. So let's now move into a program and look at the working list and the bulk operations. You will see here that we've added these checkboxes, so you can either just check off one or two or the whole list. And you will see as soon as we do that, you'll get the selection, and you will also get a couple of options of what to do with enrollments. This works the exact same in event programs as well as program stage working lists, but there it will be about completing and deleting events. So if you want to complete events, you can click this button. What it'll do is it'll tell you how many enrollments are active and how many are completed, because you might have both in the list, but you can also filter by status, for example, in the working list. And then we also give you the option of marking all events within the enrollments as complete as well. So, so that if you have some active events still, you can do that, but you can also decide to uncheck it. We also have this option to delete enrollments. Again, we're separating on the statuses, because maybe you only want to delete the ones that are complete for some reason, or only the ones that are active. But we have this granularity available. So again, that's because of time, I'm just showing the enrollment ones. But you can also do this in events. So let's now go into some of the changes within an enrollment or an event form. So as we were mentioning, we do have this breadcrumb bar. This is one of the ways that we wanted to improve sort of the navigation within the Capture app, because that was one of the user inputs that we've heard, you know, a bit of how to move back and forth. So here you can easily move all the way back to the original working list if you want to, or just back to the enrollment dashboard, for example. If we look at the organization unit context that I talked about, that is when you have the organization unit mentioned anywhere. So for example, here in the event, or down here in the enrollment widget, you can see the whole organization unit hierarchy when hovering over, which is nice if you want to see where it's situated in the hierarchy. Maybe you have similar org unit names, etc. If we go into the edit event form, we wanted to add the option to change the organization unit within the form itself. We had it kind of in the context selector, but we realized it was more intuitive and more straightforward to have it within the form, and so the user could just change it there. We have also implemented the new calendar component in Capture, which I believe the Extensibility team will talk a bit more about later. But yeah, this is the new calendar component. It's also multi-calendar and works for non-Gregorian calendars. And you have the drop down for months and years here, etc. We have also added some improvements to the changelog. So the changelog was re-implemented. The backend for that was re-implemented in 41. So if you want to use this for the Capture app, you have to have a 41 backend or above. But then also in 42, we added some additional functionality. Now you can, if you only want to look at a specific data item and see the changes there, you can filter only on that if you want to. You can also sort by data items, or by the user, or by date. In addition, we've added the scheduled date and the report date, as well as the geometry. So more the basic info of the event, that you can also see if that has been changed by the user. Right, I'll move back to a couple of other enhancements that I'm not going to demo right now, but I will explain it briefly. So we have, in Capture, we've added this functionality around related stages or linked events, which means that you can link, you can have two program stages within one program and create relationships between these two. We think this will be very beneficial for use cases, for example, where you have a lab request and a lab result. You can link those two together, but without having to have them be in the same program stage. And some of the improvements we've added for this release is that we have this kind of two event page, so you're able to see the linked event when you're, for example, the lab request when you're entering the lab outcome, and vice versa. And you can also unlink the event. There's a lot of great functionality here, and I think maybe depending on the voting later, this will be something that we will highlight in the spotlight later this year. We also added show and filtering on assigned users in program stage working list. So as you know, you can assign a specific user to an event if you have enabled that in maintenance. And now you can also actually filter on that in a working list. So you can create a specific working list where your healthcare workers, for example, only see the events assigned for themselves at a certain day, and this will hopefully facilitate a lot of workflows in health facilities, for example. Thank you. Yeah, welcome back, everyone. So now we will get into what kind of exciting functionality we've added for the analytics apps in the 42 release. So I will get started with the functionality in the dashboard app first. So we'll look a little bit at the updated app design and improved user experience. We will also take a look at the slideshow mode that we've added, and as well the support for external dashboard types, specifically superset in this release. So yeah, let's jump over to the demo. So here, the dashboard app, which I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with. A lot of you have it as your first page when opening DHIS2. So what we decided in this release was to make the dashboard bar a single and fixed dashboard bar. We know that if people had access to a lot of dashboards, etc., it would take up quite a lot of space. So we wanted to make sure that the screen really focused on getting as much out of the dashboard data as possible. But we did kind of lock it to the top, so you can scroll and still, know what dashboard you're actually in, and still do any actions that you want to without having to scroll up to the top. Again, to make this kind of single line one, we did move the dashboards over here in the list, but you're still able to search and star them accordingly. We also tried to make sure that the grid was updated, and also again made use of the screen real estate. The next functionality that we added was to be able to put your dashboard into slideshow mode. So by clicking the slideshow button, it goes into full screen, and you can move through the dashboard items either by using your arrow keys or clicking on the arrows on the bottom. We're hoping this will be a very helpful feature for users to, just be able to show this dashboard in review meetings, etc., instead of having to download and add, each image into a PowerPoint, etc. The last feature I will demo in the dashboard app is the possibility to add external dashboards. So we really want to enable, integrating several sources, data sources from, other DHIS2 instances or otherwise into, the dashboard that the user is looking at. So to add an external dashboard, you click on this plus button as you normally do when you create a dashboard. We now have a new modal. This will only show up if you have enabled the external dashboard setting in the system settings. So if you don't have that and you click the plus button, you will see the regular kind of dashboard editor as you're used to. But if you have enabled it, then you can go to external. Again, we're currently supporting superset. We're looking into whether we can support more in the future, but for 42, it's a superset that you can create. And I'll just do a test dashboard here. So you need an embed ID, which you're getting from, wherever you're hosting your superset dashboards. I have a link available. And then there's some options that you can do from superset, and then you save the dashboard. So now you can see the superset dashboard right along your other DHIS2 dashboards. It will specify that it is from an external source. You can still interact with it and see the more details around the data. There's some filtering options coming from superset itself, but we have from our side, since we can't really, override these kind of some of these filtering and periods, etc., that's coming from superset. We don't have filtering available for these kind of external sources, at least for the time being. But again, there is filtering coming from superset itself. All right, and then I'll move over to a couple of very exciting features within the Data Visualizer app and demo those. So one of them is option sets and option counts within option sets. And the other one is data definition and definitions and info in the data item selector. So let's move over to the data visualizer app. So what we've added is we've added the option to, or the possibility to disaggregate so event data items, meaning data elements and tracked entry attributes for individual data. If they have an option set, you can disaggregate based on this. So let's look at an example. So if the data element or tracked entity has an option set, you will now see this icon next to the data item. So then you can either just add it as normal, the whole data element, or you can decide to click here and only select certain options. You can also select all of them and do that. But for this example, I will just select a few of these. I will select, for example, community health workers and a radio and school, just as an example. And then I will click update. Just a note here, the reason you're not seeing anything is because often, as you may know, text data elements with option sets has an aggregation type of none. So you will actually need to go in here and override it just to see the count. And then I'll just do only March so we see it a bit more easily. And there, now you can again disaggregate and only see, the number of options for community health or for radio or school, and only see the value for that. This is a very nice feature if either maybe you don't have access to create program indicators, or similar to the PI disaggregation, you don't want to start creating program indicators for all these different options. Then this kind of disaggregation is a very nice way to do that. And just to show an example is that I can look up this instance has these program indicators. So I will just add the corresponding program indicators just to show you that you see here that the values are the same for the three options and for the three program indicators based on those options. All right, so now we will move on to the data definitions. So as you maybe already have seen here, we have added the data item type, so users can more easily see, whether it's a program indicator or a data element or an indicator, and then this information button. So just searching for my example here. The reason we've done this is a lot of times the user might not know, for example, okay, I have this indicator and what is it actually built on? And this way, users who either don't have access to maintenance app or maybe don't want to go into the maintenance app to check this for everything, can now search for them here and see, what is my numerator expression? What is my denominator expression? How is this indicator built? It's showing pretty much all the metadata for each type, and this will of course vary based on the data type. I'll show another example in a second. So you can see group memberships, description code, etc. So for example, if you then see an enumerator expression that you want to look at this data element, for example, I have it here. And here you can see that when you're looking at a data element, you have some different information than in the indicator. With the data element, you, for example, see what data sets they're in. You see the category combo, which you can even, drill down on seeing the different categories. So again, we hope this will be a really great way of the user just to understand more about the data and the analytics and visualizations that they're seeing. The next app we're going to move on to is the Maps app. So here I will show you our new and improved and updated period selector for thematic layers. I'll show a couple of other functional and user experience improvements. For example, that you can see calculations, you can combine user organization unit and levels, and some more. Also show quickly that we support enrollment coordinates, and that you can now toggle layer visibility for Earth Engine layers. So let's go back into Maps here. And I will open an example. So now when you're in this period, let's just see if I can close this. In the period selector now, you might recognize this because this is the same kind of period selector components as we're using in the data visualizer and line listing app, for example. So we have aligned that. And you can also now do multiple period selections, and you can even combine relative and fixed periods. So for example, if I want to do January and this month and an update, it will update accordingly. We've also added the start and end dates, and we are also here using the new calendar component from the UI library as well. So that's also a line there. We've improved this period display mode, these mapping options. We've added a bit more description. We've also added a bit more help text for when you could use each one. So for example, if I remove a period, this will say, guide you to say that you need at least 2 periods or 1 multi-period. So if we add that back, you see that, okay, now I can choose the timeline. And then the split one, for example, says, oh, you have to remove existing layers because I have this organization unit layer. So it's guiding you in this way as well. Then for some of the other functional improvements, as I mentioned, org units, you can, and this goes for all the analytics apps, you can combine user organization units and a level. So again, you would only see your user organization unit on a certain level. You can again update the layer. Oh, I messed up the period there, sorry. But, and then you can also see calculations. So calculations is something we've only enabled in the data visualizer app. You have to create it there. And this is where you can kind of create custom calculations, for example, adding a couple of data elements together. So now you can also use them within maps. Another thing that you can do is in the event layer, if you're choosing a tracker program and the stage, here we have another option for the coordinate field now. You can use the enrollment location instead of your actual event coordinates. So you will still get the information about the event in this stage, but you can decide to actually fall back to the coordinate that was captured during the enrollment instead. And last thing on the map side is that you now can do this manage available layer sources. So we're continuously updating and adding more Earth Engine layers. But maybe you think it's, some of these are not relevant for your instance, or it's getting a bit too many. You can decide to say that you don't want to see some of them. This you will have to have the external map layer or system authority to do. But then when you go in, you see less layers here. All right, I think that is it on the analytics side. So I will hand it over to Austin, the Extensibility team lead.
Thanks, Carolina. I will be demonstrating some of the new extensibility features that we have in version 42 of DHIS2. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I think you should be able to see my screen. Let me know if you cannot.
We also see your.
Yes. So
okay, that's intentional. Yeah.
you see the presentation, right?
No, we are seeing your Slack and probably the wrong screen.
That is not what I intended. One moment.
Nice pictures of the trip in Tanzania.
Thank you. Yeah, presenting from the HISP Tanzania office at the moment. So we are actively engaging in extensibility. Here we go. Okay, so you should see my presentation now.
Yeah, you're good now.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we have several exciting new features and also a relatively new team to present today. So we have created the extensibility team last year and have really made a big push for extensibility features, which have been around for a long time, but have continued to improve and now have a really dedicated focus. So wanted to highlight a few of those features here. One that we talked about a little bit already, but and many of you may be familiar with this. We've had dashboard plugins for quite some time. Now it's possible for web applications that are installed in the system to expose also dashboard plugins and to embed those in a new secure way. So this is something that has been in the works for a while. It's being used by the core visualization applications like the data visualizer, the maps app, the event visualizer, those types of things. But it is now possible for any application to embed plugins in an iframe on the dashboard, and also for applications to expose multiple entry points. So both for an application and a plugin on the dashboard. This is just one of many extension points that we have and continue to add to the system. So we've also been adding several extension points in the capture application, and you'll see more coming soon in other places in DHIS2 as well. As Carolina mentioned earlier, we do have a new calendar component, and this is exciting because it enables calendar entry in both Gregorian calendar and other calendars. This is specifically for entering dates in specific dates, so it's separate from period selection and those types of things. But this allows you to quickly enter that data, has a consistent look and feel, and it also supports multiple calendars, including Nepali, including Ethiopian, and several other calendar systems as well. This is a big one. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Route API, it's a mechanism that we've introduced several versions ago to extend the core DHIS2 API to be able to communicate with external services. So this includes maybe you talking to a civil registry, maybe talking to a custom mediator that you've built, any sort of system that you want to communicate with from a DHIS2 web application. You can now communicate through the DHIS2 API, which performs authentication, making sure that the user is logged in, and authorization, making sure that they're allowed to access this service. So you can actually use DHIS2 to protect other resources that might not have their own authentication or might be difficult to share authentication between DHIS2 and this external service. And in 42, we've added several pieces of functionality to the Routes API, including several new types of authentication schemes. This allows the route to communicate with that external service using custom headers, which were not previously supported. Custom query parameters, if that's something that your backend requires. It's not strongly recommended from a security perspective, but in some cases it's required by the upstream service. So that has been added as well. Both of those are available in patch versions of version 40 and 41, as well as the latest release of 42.0. And the one that's really quite exciting, I think, is in 42.0, you can now use OAuth 2 client authentication, so that basically your communication through the route will go to an external OAuth server, use client credentials, and authenticate with that service in order to get a token that it can then use to communicate with that upstream service. If you don't know what that means, that's okay. Probably someone in your organization does. It's a little bit technical, but these are really opening up the doors to new ways to communicate through the DHIS2 web API to different services that exist in your health system or whatever system your DHIS2 is serving. In addition, we've added the ability to customize the timeouts for individual routes in the system and significantly improved the performance of the routes API in general. And you'll see more improvements to the routes API coming soon. Additionally, we introduced a new optional application that you can find on the App Hub and install if you're using the routes feature of DHIS2. And that is a management app to be able to create, to edit, to view, to test the routes in your system. Previously, this was only supported through the API, but now we have a very nice interface to be able to enable and disable, to test, to share, to view and edit the routes that are configured in your system. And this is very useful for anyone that's trying to manage kind of the access to these different upstream services. Which also, I should mention, also is now able to be kind of locked down a bit by the administrator of the DHIS2 system in DHIS2, so that if you want to restrict the routes API to only access certain upstream services or none at all, you can do that in the DHIS2 settings. Additionally, we have a new data store management application, which we've had the data store API and the data store management app for quite some time, but the look and feel of the data store manager app was a bit outdated and it didn't support many of the new features of the data store API. So we have now created a new application that lets you manage the information in the data store. And this supports not only the data store, which has been supported for some time with the older application, but also the user data store, which was not supported previously. So you can now view all of the data within your own user data store. You can also do all of the operations that were previously supported by the data store manager app, but you can additionally share the access to individual keys or namespaces within the DHIS2 data store, which is something that was, again, previously supported only in the API, and now we have an interface to be able to manage that sharing of individual keys in the data store using this manager app. There are some additional features in the data store API that we will be adding support for in the app in the future as well. Things like pagination and filtering of keys within a namespace. And we wanted to, that's another reason that we wanted to refresh the look and feel of this application to really open up the possibility to support the people that are using the data store more and more extensively thanks to those new features. This is also a very exciting one. We have a new Fire implementation guide generator app. So this is, again, an optional app that you can find on the App Hub and install in your system if it's something that interests you. And what this does is takes the configuration within a tracker program in DHIS2 and generates an implementation guide, a Fire implementation guide in a standard way. So this is a way to represent the metadata in your DHIS2 tracker system in a way that other Fire systems or people that understand Fire implementation guides can understand. And this opens up the possibility to have more tight integration and be able to really work together with other systems that maybe speak Fire as a standard. You'll see more coming in the realm of Fire and integration and interoperability in the future as well. But this is a great first step to really be able to represent DHIS2 metadata in the context of Fire. Additionally, on the App Hub and in the App Management app, we have a new feature that's very exciting to be able to show change logs for individual versions of new applications. We've had the ability to upload new versions of applications and install those into your system for some time, but developers didn't have a good way to communicate what was new or changed in a new version of the app. And so now this is something that's supported automatically synchronizing from the source code of the application if it exists there, but it can also be manually specified or modified within the App Hub interface. And then it's available to someone that's installing a new version of this application to see what new updates are available, and be able to determine if it's an update that they want to do now, or if they want to wait for the next one, or if there's something, maybe a critical security fix that they need to install immediately. This is again available in the App Hub interface, apps.dhis2.org, and it's also available in the App Management app, so you can see all of the updates that are between the version that you have currently installed and the latest version that's available on the App Hub. Marcus mentioned the global app shell. I wanted to mention this one more time because it also has some implications for extensibility. In addition to providing a consistent user interface for the entirety of DHIS2, no matter who built any individual app or how old it is, or whether it has adopted the latest version of the app platform, this also allows developers to focus on really what makes their app unique. So they don't need to spend time incorporating the latest version of the header bar or updating their app platform just to get kind of aligned with the other applications in the system. It has been a little bit of a maintenance pain in the past, but it also allows us to kind of decouple a bit the interface for the DHIS2 instance as a whole from the interface for this particular application. And also open it up to potentially new technologies to be able to run without being kind of bound to the technologies that we use and provide for the header bar, for example. So this is a really exciting new feature, that you'll also see us accelerating the pace of new DHIS2 instance-wide interface features or kind of navigation tools in the near future, because we can do that now with the new versions of this global shell without needing to update every single application in order to roll those things out. Speaking of that, there is a very exciting one that Marcus also mentioned, the ability to have shortcuts. This is something that's been asked for a long time. It's something that used to exist for the maintenance app, but being able to search for data elements or categories and find a section of the maintenance app is back, and that's available in the new apps menu, which we call the command palette, that you can search very intuitively using your keyboard. You can open it with Command K or Control K as a keyboard shortcut from anywhere. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, though, because even though the sections in the maintenance app are shortcuts that were there for a long time and then disappeared, they're now back. This also is a feature that's available to every single application. So we'll be adding it to more DHIS2 core bundled applications, but it's also available to any developer who is building an app to create shortcuts that then are available across the entire DHIS2 system automatically and can be searched and navigated to from anywhere in the system. So you might be able to search for pivot table and find the data visualizer application, or you might be able to search for a specific section of an app that you know exists, but you don't know which app it lives in. You can find that from the command palette, and that's now available across the entire DHIS2 system. There are more improvements to navigation coming soon, and again, these will be available across the entire DHIS2 platform. But one that we're pretty excited about is the ability to create these shortcuts, also to translate them and have them available in different languages, and commands, which we hope to be another extension point within the system that can allow a developer to create an app that adds functionality to this command palette, and then that becomes available in every app in the system all at once. So you can really create a custom interface for your DHIS2 implementation as a whole without needing to modify all of the apps that go into making that implementation what it is. And that's it for me. So I will turn it back over to our hosts to wrap us up.
Thank you, Austin. Super interesting, everything presented here. We have now time for questions. So I would maybe ask all presenters to switch on your cameras, if you don't mind. And I have been checking the chat, maybe not in the last 2 minutes. Most questions have been addressed, but there was one. Where are my notes? There was one that from Blake about the ability to mix DHIS2 visual side by side. So this was in the context of the plugin for of the embed superset dashboards. So he was asking if it could be possible to have one, let's say, superset item together with a DHIS2 item in a DHIS2 dashboard. So I said not for now, but I think Austin, maybe you can give a better answer about potential options for external plugins. I think plugins as of now use DHIS2 web apps or R4, but I don't really know if we have a door for external plugins, if someone would develop it or something like that. So just throw in the question here.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the question specifically.
Yeah, I can paste it on the chat. Maybe.
Thank you.
Is this one?
Yes. Yeah, so this is actually related to the superset dashboard. So definitely it is possible to create plugins and maybe utilize the routes API as well to embed something that's external to DHIS2 on the dashboard as a dashboard item plugin. The feature that was demonstrated for the dashboard app specifically is about replacing the entire dashboard, not a single dashboard item. But that is something that could be explored in the future as well. And it is something that is possible now to make as a custom plugin to be able to pull in data from external to DHIS2 and put that as a dashboard item.
Thank you, Austin. That's the answer I could not give. Yeah. Okay, so I think we answered most questions, but if there was any question left unanswered, please ask again. It might be lost. Or if there is any new question, maybe now it's the time to share them. Meanwhile, I want to thank everyone. You have been super engaging in the chat. It's very nice to see that some things are useful. It's also nice to see where we develop something that is limited for your current needs and that we can keep expanding and improving. So all comments, super welcome. We do learn from everyone. We do have one question now. What is the plan for supporting event-to-event links on Android? So this is linked events.
So we do have, we have been working on some designs and the way that we want to implement it in Android, but still not in the roadmap. Probably we'll try to add it for future releases, probably not in the next ones, but it is definitely in a future roadmap.
Can we ask a follow-up question, Reddit? Would you mind sharing a short comment on your use case for using linked events in Android? I think that would be very interesting for us.
Yes.
Then we have another question. I did join the meeting a bit late. Will the recorded session be accessible? Yes, it will be recorded and published and shared to be seen later. Thank you. Thank you, Daisy, for the nice comments. A lot of work from many, many developers is behind all of these features. So all nice comments are super welcome. We make sure we will pass them over if they're not here, because we do have developers in the call. So you say hi, maybe. Blake's questions are never easy, I have to say. Cross-program analytics, no problem. Has always been a little tricky, particularly for For event programs. There's been great improvements in Tracker within program, but I wonder, is there a plan to be able to simply create a relationship between a specific event in one program to a specific event in another program, which would enable a simple count of relationships or even more complicated custom analysis? Well, I think the generic answer could be, yeah, Carolina.
Yeah, I would say that so we do have backend support for all of this on when it comes to relationship, that you can link tracked entities to enrollments, enrollments to events, events to events, but we haven't enabled all of that on the UI for various reasons. It is a bit complex with event to event because it is a bit more complicated to search for which event you want to link, etc. But what I was going to say is that since all the backend, since it's supported in the backend, it could be a use case to create your own kind of plugin within Capture where you can enable something like this. I think someone else asked the same, and we said that maybe it would be a case for a plugin. But yeah. But this is the first question we get when we say we have linked events within a program. They ask for between programs. So it is also something we've had in mind for if we want to expand the kind of linked events model even further. But no concrete plans right now.
There is a follow-up comment. Yeah. So, maybe this one is for you, David, from Jean-Paul. Any plan to support custom data entry?
Yes.
And
So
Tracker, a bit, but yeah, you can.
Tracker is maybe a bit different, but in the new version of the aggregate data entry form app, we are looking at adding plugin support as well, with an added option of being able to load previous legacy forms that contain JavaScript that currently don't work in the app. So we're working on that at the moment. We will have some more use for that in the near future, so keep an eye on the community of practice. Some JavaScript will work straight out of the box, some probably won't, because there was security reasons that we were looking to restrict the use of JavaScript. So there will be some functions that will still be blocked, but there's good reason for that. And the other thing that we're doing to kind of mitigate that is introduce more configuration options, as Nancy went through. So giving you more ability to create user-friendly, more flexible data entry forms will hopefully reduce the need to go to the custom JavaScript that previously was a solution. So we kind of have a bit of a two-prong approach to that. So keep your eye out for more configuration and also the plugin support to run some JavaScript.
And any custom forms in Tracker that uses JavaScript should use plugins that is already in Capture. So that's the Tracker solution for now.
Exactly. So Reddit, thank you for sharing your use case.
And there's just a follow-on from Daisy. Yes. So if I understand the question correctly, around using some logic to show or hide certain parts of the form, that is a configuration option we're looking at adding in the near future. We'll see how we go with the roadmap for that one, but it's definitely on the list.
I just want to thank Reddit for sharing the use case of linking events. I see I have follow-up questions, but I don't think we should put or dedicate this webinar to discussing use case. Let's go through the questions first. But thank you very much, and we can definitely keep in contact on the COP or after if we have extra time. But thank you very much for sharing. So James, hello James. Multiple implementations. Okay, welcome. Thank you, David. It's a big thank you, David and team. The roadmap comments, maybe will there be another roadmap voting process this year? So I think, as you must have noticed, the time for voting has passed, and we didn't announce any voting with the community this year. And the reason for that is that since 2024 was kind of a transition year where we did the voting, and then we also had strategy-led roadmap definition. So we were trying to combine the votings specific, or let's say bottom-up process of the community votes with more, I don't want to say top-down, but framing from a higher level the strategy of the DHIS2 to address the needs from the field, from all of you. So this year, the process has been purely led by the strategic priorities of the DHIS2, as we will present in the conference, which we saw. First thing, we wanted to have more. I say HISP Center. We wanted to have more strategic direction and steady direction for the DHIS2, because as you know, we have a lot of requests, and if we answer to everything, we might end up not doing something completely well and doing many things not that complete, I would say. So we wanted to become more strategic. And for that reason, this year, the roadmap has been guided by 3 main strategies that were defined by the implementation team in collaboration with his groups and product managers. We brought in also the inputs from the community, the comments, what we see in Jira, and of course, the input of engineering managers from more technical needs that might not be requested. So the roadmap is planned this year in response to those strategic priorities. They will be, again, shared in detail during the conference, but we can say it's not a secret that they are around maintain and sustain good quality implementations, mainly focusing on challenges for implementations that live for a long time and has to pass through many configuration cycles, and well, they can end up having metadata configurations that are very complex to maintain and that need some cleanup and some tuning, and also on very big implementations. So anything related to performance, metadata cleaning, maintenance, etc., will go into that first strategy. The second is on extensibility. So keep improving the DHIS2 as a platform that boosts or empowers or supports, enables innovation, local innovation and extensions built on top and around the core. And then the third one is regarding analytics, improving the analytics capacity from 2 ends, architectural, meaning combining different sources and different instances in a centralized place for analysis, but also looking at the DHIS2 user experience. So having a look at the analytics apps and seeing how can we make it more intuitive, if possible. So these 3 priorities are actually not new. You must be seeing that most of the things presented today are already addressing some of those, because these are the main needs, I think, from everyone. And of course, specificities are always there. So yeah, I think that's the answer. I'm going to stop here just in the interest of time, but I hope that answered your question. I lost a bit track of the chat, but just saying, sorry, just to close the previous part. We really thank you for all the collaboration in the previous roadmap processes, and we are still keeping an eye on the community and JIRA and discovery. So it's not that the voice of the community is not there. It's just that we didn't open the explicit period of voting. And that's the answer now. Did any of you see or want to take any question? I have to review the chat now. Like locking mechanism at enrollment event. Besides the completion, I don't think we have plans for that, Caroline or Nancy.
No, I think not. And someone was again asking about custom JavaScript in the old custom data sets. Maybe you want to answer that one again, just in the chat, David, since we already addressed it a bit. And someone made a good comment that we don't talk too much about server administration.
Yeah,
which is,
I was reading that right now, and I think yes, that is true. But it doesn't mean like. I think server administration and DHIS2 configuration, maintenance, and use are two huge buckets that they relate because the server holds DHIS2, but they are kind of different disciplines, I would say. But we do have a team that works on server administration and is super active in the COP and gives a lot of recommendations. And I even think there is a regular meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, for server admins, and there is documentation and recommendations. So I think this webinar concretely and these sessions are focusing on sharing DHIS2 features. And then not many of them directly address infrastructural topics. But it doesn't mean, I think maybe that's the reason why we don't talk about it in these webinars, but there is a forum and there are people talking about it, I would say. So I think we have to go back to the slides and finish this because we are not done and we are losing participants. We just love the interaction. But so I'm gonna share the screen now. And as I said before, we would like to ask you for help for planning the upcoming Spotlight feature webinars. So we have prepared a Menti that you can join either going to, my screen is showing now the Menti instructions, right? Yes. Either going to the website, menti.com, and using that code, or scanning the QR code that you can see there, or opening the link that we are going to share. Can someone share it? Okay. On the chat. So what you will find there, and I guess I have to move to the next. Okay. Do I not know how to use Menti? Are you seeing it again? It doesn't use the mouse. Okay. So what you will see is a list of the main features that have been presented today. And we would like you to rank them based on the interest, how interested you are in learning more in detail about those particular features. So you have to slide up and down and just move to the top the ones that you are most interested in. And let's see the chat. And what we will do is to plan the upcoming webinars. We do have one every other week. There might be a break for summer, but based on your answers, I don't see the results coming in. Carolina, should I do anything special for the results to show
No,
them?
I'm just sure it takes a while to rank all the options.
Yeah, okay. And
Yeah,
then,
I think.
yeah, it's
yeah,
coming. Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
and maybe
So
some
please,
decided to just rank some of them.
yeah, it was a long list, and it's even longer because let me say there is another slide for the new things, new features or improvements presented by Austin as Extend. The audience for those ones might be or belong more to the developer meetups, but we thought it was still interesting to get the sense of where is the interest, and it would be probably useful for Austin to prepare the next developer meetups. So I'm gonna wait a little bit on this, and then we will move to the next one. Can participants move, Caroline, to the next ranking if I don't move?
Depends if you put it as survey or not.
I don't know. Okay, let's wait a little bit. We do have the new maintenance app and merging metadata on the top. Just to say, that one doesn't include PI disaggregations. So if that's what you're thinking about, that's another one. So 16 out of 32 is the submitted answers. I'm looking very stupid right now. Yes, because it keeps growing. Visualizer, item definitions and option set counts, an Android app overview, mobile implementation support, external dashboards, PI disaggregations coming up. Okay. You can still join. We do have 34 participants, but on the call we have 57. So please join. I'm gonna share the list again. The link, sorry. And if I move to the next one, results will stay here, right? So I'm gonna open the other one. This one is a bit shorter. And thank you, Linda. So you are answering here in the chat, mobile implementation support. If you could please join the Mentimeter poll, you can choose that option and just move it up. Okay, so we are getting answers in as well on the developer meetups. Can I go back and forth? Yes. This one seems a bit stable now. Leave this open for a while. Check.
I think you have to stay on one. They can only answer that one. I think.
Really? Okay. What have I done now? Can I change that, Carolina, on the fly?
Yeah, if you go next to the title. In survey.
And the other one is. Okay, so hopefully. We need some music for this. A hoot is better. It plays music, no? But I think this one is getting stable now. We have 27 answers. Ahmed has a question. I have downloaded the DHIS2 Windows version. I don't know if we have a different anything packed or, but I would say there can be many reasons. I don't really know what you mean with Windows version.
Maybe you can post on the support.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the
Category.
best thing would be to post in the COP. In support. Probably here. Thank you, Jared. Okay, I think this is getting stable now. We have 24 answers here, 29 in the new maintenance app. We are going to leave it open for some time in case you are going through the options. But I think it's clear that we will probably address, well, we will follow this order for planning our webinars, maybe combined with our availability, but most likely. And then we will share this with, well, Austin is here, in case we want to plan something in the feature spotlights or in the developer meetups. So I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you very much for here. Thank you very much for helping till the end, also planning our webinar. This is really useful because we normally have a sense of what can be more useful, but this is really talking directly and shaping that calendar. Thank you for all the engaging on the chat, all the nice questions. You can still use the COP post that we announced, that we used to announce this webinar, to post more questions if they come after, or just post a question on the COP. We are never tired of expressing how useful any feedback, any question, or any use case is for us. So please keep the action, keep engaging, and thank you for your hard work on making the DHIS2 a success in your countries and organizations. So I think this is all from us. See some of you at the conference, hopefully, or in upcoming feature spotlights or webinars. Big hug from everyone in the DHIS2 team. And thank you.